A few months ago, I found human teeth inside of this haunted doll. I had noticed this strange, sweet and sickly rotten smell coming from the doll, and I noticed that she had some stitches on the back. So I decided to open her up and I found this weird vial of human teeth inside, and a very strange unknown liquid. But today the curiosity has got the better of me and I really want to open this up. Because the seal was somehow broken, the liquid has since dried up. So it seems that there are just teeth and some sort of powder inside. And I kind of just wanted to see if these were adult teeth, children's teeth, animal teeth, I don't know. A lot of dentists in the comments have said yes, they definitely look like human teeth, which is just great. So I just went ahead and emptied them onto this wooden board that I have. The liquid seems to have just evaporated since the seal was broken and the liquid was leaking into the doll. So now all I'm left with is this kind of dirt powder and these teeth. My hands are pretty small and as you can see the teeth are also very small, so I think they're kids' teeth. I'm by no means a teeth expert, so please let me know if you think you know better. So after inspecting them, I decided to put them all back. I still don't know if this was a hex or a curse or what kind of ritual this was, but I have decided to reseal the vial in a new white wax for healing and new beginnings. I'm also doing multiple cleanses on this doll, including a smoke cleanse, and I'm still unsure about the origin of this doll, what this all means. So I'm just doing the best that I can to purify this energy. And this doll, and whatever spell or curse or hex or whatever you'd like to call it, is attached to this doll, it just seems really troubled and tortured. So I'm just going to try my best to give this doll some healing, a new beginning, and just some growth. Don't forget as well that this doll came with a mini bell, so I'm also going to do a sound cleanse. And pray that ringing the bell didn't just summon a demon. I am now going to return the vial back to the doll as well as some healing crystals, and then after that I'm going to sew the back of the doll up, cleanse the living hell out of it, and I'm going to make the doll a new dress as an offering, because I'd really like to connect with the spirit that is attached to this doll. I'm also adding some crushed eggshells and some lavender oil for just extra protection. So look out for my next video where I will be making a dress for the doll as an offering to get to know the soul attached.
She was dying and there was nothing they could do to help. It would actually take 3 whole hours before firefighters could enter the home.
She was burning for 3 hours?
Yeah. The evil man had gotten out of the house and he had left. He used the chaos, the explosion, the distraction, and his daughter's murderer was now free. Her ex-husband was now free.
Lamu's ex-husband.
Yeah.
Was the killer.
Lamu had recently divorced her husband of over a decade, the man she had 2 children with, and he basically refused to let her go. And now she's laying in a hospital bed in a coma with severe burns on over 90% of her body. Her long black hair was all burned off. Her whole body was charred. It's stated that some parts of her flesh were resembling cooked meat. The doctors had no choice but to cut off a lot of her flesh and skin to even get to her body to try and perform life-saving measures. They had to basically peel a layer of skin off of her body. Her exam results show that she had burns on 90% of her body. She had gone into hypovolemic shock, which is when your body loses a large amount of blood or fluid. It stated that she had lost more than 20% of her blood volume. So she was in a coma, and her family could only sit there wondering, like, why? Why Lamu?
Traumatizing and disturbing. You just might need therapy after watching these. I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit the like button. Give me a follow. These all come with major trigger warnings, but they're all very good. Treatment is a film from Belgium about a police investigator named Nick Kaffmeyer who has never gotten over the childhood abduction of his brother, and he gets put on a serial kidnapping case. This is better than Prisoners, better than 8mm. This movie is very heavy, very disturbing, and it absolutely fucking rips. Chained is one of the best roles that Vincent D'Onofrio ever played, and this movie goes so fucking hard, and it's about a guy that's held captive by D'Onofrio, who is a serial killer cab driver, and I don't want to give any of it away, but this is brutal and it fucking rips. The Seasoning House will break your fucking heart, and it's about this deaf girl that's sold in a brothel to be this caretaker and is in a fight for her life. Listen, this is unsettling, unflinching, brutal, and it fucking rips. Daddy's Little Girl is a revenge thriller for revenge thrillers, and it's absolutely fucking heartbreaking and brutal. I'm not gonna give much of the plot away, but something happens to this gentleman's child, and just watch it. But listen, this one is upsetting as fuck, so be cautious, especially if you have kids. When people talk about disturbing films, they name the same ones over and over again, and I don't know if anything is more brutally upsetting than Jack Ketchum's The Girl Next Door. This is based on real life events. It is so upsetting. It is a very, very difficult watch, but it is an expertly well-made film, and it is very, very good. But this one is really gonna fucking piss you off, and it's a hard, hard watch. That's 5 more traumatizing and disturbing films that may make you seek therapy. I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit that like button and give me a follow.
When a family vacation becomes a psychological nightmare. We cover a lot of cases where a family is hiding a dark secret, and they're always the scariest ones. Well, I was lucky enough to get an early screening of the Speak No Evil movie coming out next month on September 13th, and the secret that this family was hiding terrified me. If you know me, you know that I'm a huge fan of the drama and horror movie genres, and a movie with a good plot twist is my favorite. And I'm not going to give you guys any spoilers, but the plot twist in this movie I did not see coming. James McAvoy is brilliant in this role, like always. Him and his family start the movie as a fun, normal family who over time start to show their terrifying true colors. This thriller is a movie that you true crime junkies are not going to want to miss. So make sure you guys all see Speak No Evil in theaters on September 13th.
There isn't just one hell. The Book of Enoch tells us there are multiple levels to hell and heaven. We're even told that hell itself is in one of the many realms of heaven. I know this is confusing, but by the end of this video it will all make sense. This terrifying journey begins when 2 angels takes Enoch through a series of different levels of heaven. Within the second heaven is where the first level of hell is. This place is a prison-like realm for the leaders of the Watchers. The Watchers are a group of angels that altered human DNA, making the Nephilim. The third heaven is full of paradise for the righteous. However, on the northern side of this heaven is where the unrighteous people are being tormented for eternity. The fifth heaven has the lower-ranking Watcher angels that are also in a prison-like realm. However, in this realm they are forbidden to speak until Enoch prays for them. Basically, we're told that heaven is used for multiple purposes, for the righteous and the unrighteous. This place is described as a realm comprising different dimensions for those receiving the eternal reward of heaven as we know it. Yet also this place has more hellish realms for the eternal punishment of the unrighteous.
Today we're going to be watching videos that you guys tag me on. You better hide those feet in the blankets, like right now. Also, I love that you guys tag me on all these scary videos, but it's not so fun when I see them at nighttime. To start off, this video is coming from WV Paranormal, and well, let me just show you first.
Dad, look at Carly!
Get up here, Carly! What the hell was that?
What the hell was that? That reaction's a little too late, sir.
The hell was that?
I'm never gonna be the type that's like, that is fake, because I am not there. But why the fuck was his reaction so late? I did go through their content, and there's like so many creepy shit going on there. you guys can go check it out. These are just gonna get progressively worse, I'm telling you right now. So backstory, this guy's at home and his lights have been going on and off and he thought it was like an electrical issue. So he pulls out his phone in one of the occasions that the lights go out. Mind you, it is in Spanish, but just, I don't even think you need to know Spanish to know what the fuck this guy's going through.
Se me acaba de apagar la palanca otra vez. Se saltaron la jodida palanca una noche más. Me está sucediendo casi todas las noches, ¿vale? Y que tenga que seguir viviendo aquí porque no tengo a dónde ir. ¿Qué cojones es eso, tío?
Oh my god. I'm not crying, you are. No, but like seriously, I would have had a heart attack and died on the spot immediately. And it ends with him actually calling the police. The cops go into his house and there's nobody there. The crawling. It was the crawling. It was the fucking crawling. Remember I said it's gonna get worse. Nothing jumps out in the next one, but apparently this lady had been going through a lot of things in her house and people were not believing her. So on this day, she was trying to go to sleep and she was scared. She was terrified, but she managed to pull out her phone because she needed proof to show people. Oh my god. Okay, you're on your own now. Can you imagine being home alone and this happening to you? And the whole time I'm thinking, I would feel safer outside. But upon reviewing the video, I'm thinking the only way out is where that door, the lights coming through, yeah. Where would she go? Okay, so the next video that you guys tagged me in, I wanted to end on a good note because I don't know why I don't feel anything negative off of this video. If anything, I feel like that's something that I would, like if I had to imagine what a spirit looked like, this is what would be in my brain.
You can put that you're a kid. Or you can do senior citizen. Do y'all see that?
What was that?
Did you see that?
Yeah, what was that?
Did you see that? Am I tripping? What the fuck was that?
So what do you guys think that was? Also, let me know if you like these videos. You guys are always tagging me in creepy stuff, so I'll be more than happy to share that with you.
I have absolutely no hesitation in telling you that this is 2024's best horror film. And I think it's going to be very difficult to top. My name's Ricky, I love horror movies. And last night, I was finally able to see an early screening for Longlegs. So to put quite simply, this is a movie about an FBI agent who is trying to track down a serial unaliver. And it is as damn near perfect as any horror film I've ever seen. I feel like I've been saying that a lot this year, but I think that 2024 has been a really amazing year for horror, and Longlegs is, for me, at the top of that list. So this movie has been marketed as the scariest film this decade. And while this movie is incredibly creepy, incredibly foreboding, it has this looming sense of dread permeating through every single scene, I don't think it's the scariest film from the past decade. However, I do think that this is a modern day classic, and I do think that it is one of the best horror films from the past 10 years. It's going to go down in history with the likes of It Follows, Hereditary, Get Out. It is a modern day horror masterpiece. So the main players in this film are Mika Monroe, Agent Lee Harker, and Nicolas Cage, Longlegs. And we have Agent Carter in there playing Blair Underwood. Mika Monroe is fantastic in this film. She is incredible. She brings this sense of constant anxiety whilst also being quite funny. And that's one of the things that surprised me the most about this film, is it knows when to be incredibly creepy, but it also knows when to break that tension with a good amount of humour. Now, this isn't a horror comedy by no means. It is in fact quite a serious horror film. But like movies like Jaws or The Poltergeist, this horror movie knows when to introduce slight bits of comedy. And that for me is what makes the best films, or the best horror films, that much better, because fear and hysterical laughter are two very closely tied emotions when you think about it, the way that they make you feel. That's why Get Out was so successful. That's why Jordan Peele has been so successful within horror, coming from a comedy background. And Agent Carter, played by Blair Underwood, also brings an element of comedy to this film. But don't get me wrong, this is not a horror comedy, not at all. Now, Nicolas Cage in this film is genuinely horrifying. We've seen Nicolas Cage go full Nicolas Cage, and he does in this movie, but he does it in a different way. Now, my only fault with this movie isn't this movie's fault, it was my problem. For the first half an hour, I just couldn't get out of my head that I was watching Nicolas Cage. Especially within the first moments that we see him. And we don't see him a lot in this film, but when he's on screen, it is anxiety-inducing. But through a combination of his performance, the excellent writing, and the really creepy prosthetics that he's under, you soon forget that you're watching Nicolas Cage. Because you're so entranced by this movie, you're so hooked on it. And there are some very slow moments throughout this film, but they still manage to keep you very much entertained, very much interested, and every single frame of this film is embedded with this awful sense of foreboding dread. And you can't help but watch every single corner or every single background of every single shot in this film, because they have created such an atmosphere where we feel like we're being watched. The movie is packed full of really intense, creepy imagery. When I think about modern horror and what I love about it, I often go straight for A24. I love the amount of style, the amount of meaning and purpose that they bring to horror. And I think that Neon are very close behind A24 when it comes to horror nowadays. And that's a good thing. More people are making horror with more meaning, more purpose. Because this is a very stylish movie. It looks great, it feels great, sounds great. The cinematography and the sound design in this movie is insane. There's a lot of things that we see or hear in the background that we're not sure whether it's there or not. And that goes down to great sound design and cinematography and stuff like that. Honestly, I can't think of anything that I didn't like about this movie, aside from my own problem with not being able to get Nicolas Cage out of my brain. So I get invited to these press screenings. I'm not paid to go to these press screenings, and I'm not obliged to give any type of review. I am free to give whatever review I want to give. I've gone to many press screenings over the past couple of years where I have come back and given a not so favourable review for a film. I get a lot of people in my comments saying that I've either been paid or I've been told to say what I'm saying. And I want to defend this film because I truly love it. I think it is a modern day horror masterpiece, and I have not been advised to give this any type of review. I didn't even have to review it if I didn't want to. Longlegs is a genuine 10 out of 10, and if you are a horror lover, if you are a horror fan, you will 100% love this. And I legitimately believe that Longlegs is going to be the top of many people's top 10 horrors of 2024.
So are we all ignoring the fact that the Screamboat trailer dropped? Yes, it's a teaser trailer, but still, nobody's talking about this.
We're not alone.
I heard stories about a monster that lurked in the underbelly of the ferry. After 90 years, he's actually out in the public. Steamboat Willie.
It's the happiest place on earth.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back on the toilet, this is a gross, funny, gory and unexpectedly tender horror comedy you need to see. My name is Chris, this is Big Fat Cult, and here is my spoiler-free review of Scared Shitless. Let's go. From director Viviano Caldanelli, this indie gem follows Don, played by Stephen Ogg, a blue-collar plumber with a crass sense of humour, as he drags Sonny, his germophobic son, played by Daniel Doheny, on a routine house call to help him overcome his fears. Little do they know, they're about to face a plumber's worst nightmare, a genetically engineered bloodthirsty creature swimming through the pipes and killing tenants. Joined by their night manager Patricia, played by Chelsea Clark, they must work together to try and save the town. If that's not a great pitch, I don't know what is. This kind of movie is so hard to get right, but the gags are genuinely funny, the gore and practical effects are grisly and impressive, the characters are tongue-in-cheek but likeable, and the cast are hugely enjoyable to watch and take their roles seriously. Inspired by 80s and 90s B-movies, Scared Shitless is not only a great title, but also a brilliant late-night movie to watch, laugh and gasp at with friends. It's great to see the love and care that has gone into this. It is not just a rough around the edges silly film, it is genuinely good fun and one you should absolutely look out for. The film is currently playing festivals and hopefully a full release date will be available before too long. Make sure to like and follow me for all the latest updates on this, as well as all things movies, TV, horror and pop culture. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye for now.
I don't understand. It won't stop.
¿Tú sientes? Se siente algo aquí ya,
¿Estás aquí con nosotros?
Hello?
¿Estás bien? Ruso, Ruso, no mames, Ruso, cabrón. ¿Qué pedo, Ruso? No mames, güey. Me jalaron, güey. Ruso, Ruso, Ruso. No mames, hijo, te jaló, güey. Yo lo grabé, güey. No era nadie, güey. Te jalaron, güey. Te jalaron, güey. Te jalaron, hijo, te jalaron. Te jalaron, yo lo vi, güey. Yo lo vi, güey. Yo lo vi. No, espérate, no te levantes. No te levantes. No te levantes, hijo, yo lo vi. Yo lo vi, hijo, yo lo vi, yo lo vi, yo lo vi. Yo lo vi.
This is one of my must-watch movies every Halloween season, which I am missing right now, so let's do it.
Haunt is about this group of friends that goes to a Halloween party on Halloween night. So we have Harper, who's pretty much our main character, and we learn pretty early on that she is in an abusive relationship with this dickwad named Sam. And then we have Bailey, who's her roommate. They meet up with their friends Mallory and Angela, and they also meet up with Nathan and Evan. So a couple times throughout the night, Harper starts to see this dude in this devil mask, like kind of stalking her, and she's obviously getting freaked out. And again, abusive relationship, so she's really thinking that it's Sam. Eventually the group leaves the party and they're like, we should go to a haunted house. So they find this one online and they end up going, and it's like on this dark, sketchy road, and it has this light up sign in the middle of fucking nowhere. And when they pull up, they encounter this fucking clown. He does not speak, but he gives them liability waivers that they sign, and then they have to lock their cell phones up. The red flags are fucking waving. So they go in, and at first it's just a bunch of cheap scares, like skeletons popping out, fake cobwebs. But then they come across this performance, or so they think, of this girl screaming for help getting branded by one of the masked actors. But eventually the group gets separated, so Harper, Evan, and Mallory end up together, and Bailey, Angela, and Nathan end up together. They come across this armhole thing where you're supposed to stick your hand in and guess the body part. So the first one's like pasta, it's supposed to be brains. The second one's grapes, it's supposed to be eyes. And eventually Bailey goes to stick her hand in the last one and something grabs her. When she finally gets free and pulls herself out, she notices that her forearm has been slashed. Meanwhile, Mallory, Evan, and Harper come to this maze that they have to crawl through. So Evan and Harper go first, however, when they turn around, Mallory's nowhere to be found. So the rest of the group ends up meeting back up. They're obviously freaking out because Bailey's now injured. And suddenly this other room is revealed where we see the actor that branded that girl earlier. And this time they pull out a body bag that has Mallory in it. And during this performance, Mallory is impaled through the head with a fire poker. So now the group is freaking the fuck out even more, and Nathan decides that he's gonna go to the exit. He ends up in this really creepy fucking room with all these covered mannequins. You don't know which one's gonna move. But eventually this actor pops out and tells Nathan his name is Mitch. And Nathan is like, my friend is hurt and my other friend just died. So Mitch comes back to the others. They're all fucking pissed off. And he's like, your friend isn't dead. It was just a performance. She was part of it. And at one point, Evan asks him, like, take your mask off. I want to see your face. What's your last name? They're like interrogating the actor. Eventually, he agrees to give Parker his keys so that they're able to get out. And he agrees to take them back through the maze and help them get out. However, we very quickly realize that he's a fucking liar too, because he sends them through this trap door and then closes it so they can't escape. And then his friends show up. As they're trying to run away, this guy in the devil mask shows up, and this is the guy that Harper had seen earlier, and he impales Angela with a pitchfork and kills her. And then he goes for the rest of them. The group ends up getting separated again, and Harper eventually comes face to face with the devil, and she looks at him and says, please don't hurt me, Sam, because she still thinks that this is her abusive boyfriend. But he proceeds to take his mask off and reveal that this is his face. And he says, who's Sam? But before he's able to do anything, Nathan comes in and knocks him out and saves her. They end up finding all of their phones, but turns out the phones were fried in the microwave by the clown guy from the beginning, who takes off his mask to reveal that he looks like this. Meanwhile, Evan ends up making it outside with Mitch, but when they get out there, Mitch is like, do you still want to see my face? And he attacks Evan and kills him by putting a hammer in his teeth and just ripping his whole face off. And then he reveals that his face looks like this. Nathan and Harper end up finding that one of the phones is actually working, and Nathan manages to send their location to Harper's abusive boyfriend, Sam. Nathan makes it out of the house, but Harper somehow gets separated from him and ends up in this bedroom. And we learn that this bedroom weirdly resembles the place where Harper's childhood trauma took place, because when she was a child, she witnessed her father abusing her mother while she hid under the bed. So there's all these like cryptic messages around saying, find the key, there's this door. Eventually Harper ends up finding the key as Devil Mask comes in. But when she frantically takes the key to the door, she hears a ticking, and then all of a sudden a shotgun goes off and shoots her in the shoulder. Devil Mask gets on top of her and starts strangling her, but she manages to move his head up so the shotgun goes off again and shoots him, and he dies. Harper then sees another performer in a skull mask coming towards her and attacks it with a pitchfork, but then she takes the mask off and reveals that it is Bailey, and the performance had captured her, tied her up, and disguised her as one of them. Harper cries over her and says, I'm sorry, as she dies. Meanwhile, Sam has followed the location and ends up finding the house looking for Harper. But when he arrives, he very quickly is killed by the dude in the clown mask. Nathan goes back inside to find Harper and the others and ends up getting attacked by Mitch. Harper is then attacked by another performer in a zombie mask who she manages to fight off. And then she also fucking kills Mitch and saves Nathan. This girl's a fucking beast. So the two of them end up coming across another performer who takes his mask off and is like, listen, I wanted no part in this. They forced me. I didn't kill anybody. And he explains that all their performers are part of this cult that does extreme body modifications to themselves, which they do in order to make themselves look like real monsters. As this dude is about to help them escape, he is shot by the dude in the zombie mask. Harper and Nathan start to run, but then they encounter the one in the witch mask. There's so fucking many of them. But Harper manages to kill this one by slamming his head in this trap door in the floor. So the two of them make a run for it, but they are once again attacked by the dude in the zombie mask, but Nathan proceeds to kill him with a baseball bat. And the two of them end up getting in Sam's truck and driving away. They are safe. Meanwhile, we see Clown Mask, who is like the ringleader of this whole thing, burning the attraction down so there is no evidence. So Nathan and Harper end up waking up in the hospital, and as Harper wakes up, a nurse comes up to her and asks her to put her address on this release form, and that's when it clicks in Harper's mind that they also put their addresses on the release forms at the attraction. And sure enough, we see Clown Mask arriving at Harper's home, where her mother lives and where her childhood trauma happened. However, when he walks in, he is caught in a trap very similar to the traps that were set in the attraction. And then Harper comes out with a shotgun and kills him, and the movie ends.
You believe in vampires? Yes. Let's talk about vampires, because what the
There's been a TikTok. Katie and Dana, I'm so happy that you guys are talking about real vampires. I have tea. I'm going to tell you about how I met real vampires and also about a crazy story where I was being fed on. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm a paranormal investigator. I also do a lot of research regarding the paranormal and folklore and cryptids. And about a year ago, I posted a video about my research on real vampires. The video wound up going viral, and real vampires wound up watching my video and reaching out to me. Because of this video about real vampires and me meeting real vampires, I also wound up meeting Ben Alankush, the owner of a paranormal production company, New Blood Universe, who I now work with. New Blood Universe has a docuseries coming out about real vampires, so make sure you're following their socials if you're interested. New Blood Universe is also producing a show that me and my best friend Danelle are doing called The Curious Crypt. It's a paranormal investigation show. For the show, in March 2024, Danelle and I packed our bags and headed to New Orleans to do some investigations. While we were there, we wound up going into a vampire bar. Had to get a password to go in there. It was very secretive. Go to New Blood Universe to see the full story on it because we just posted it there.
We see this like candelabra, and this man looked like a vampire.
He looked like a straight up vampire.
We know we're gonna meet with a specific vampire who is considered an elder. I right off the bat did not like him. Like I had a weird feeling about him.
And I just didn't care, to be honest. I met him, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get drinks. So I was inside while you had this whole conversation with him where he fed on people.
Yeah.
Who are right in the street in front of you.
Yes. They would start to like almost look like disoriented.
But basically, I wound up meeting a blue-haired Colin Robinson. I don't know if you've seen What We Do in the Shadows, but Colin Robinson is an energy vampire, and I met him, and he comes in a form of a female who literally sucked the life out of me. In my defense, I was like, this girl has blue hair, she's part of a LARPing group, and I'm a nerd. She's probably going to be really cool to talk to. So Danelle and I go to talk to her. And let me tell you, out of all of the things that we could talk about, she talks about the public policy of her LARPing group. I don't even know how long she talked for, but I felt like every ounce of my life was drained from me. I was so bored I could have slept for 10 years. Not only have I spoken with real vampires in length to get all of the information I could, but I'm also really good friends with a lot of real vampires. I promise you, they're not all bad. Just like humans in general, humans can be good, humans can be bad, we can be morally gray, we can be somewhere in between, and that's pretty much where anything with will and forethought and all of those things land. They can be good, bad, somewhere in between. If you are into the supernatural, folklore, cryptids, the paranormal, and real vampires, and the fae, gotta mention them because I love them, make sure you're following me. Make sure you're following New Blood Universe because things are about to get weird.
This is not a conspiracy. This is scary. So in 2018, scientists discovered a black hole 16 million light years away. They were watching it literally swallow a star. Black hole.
And where is it going?
Listen to this. What they thought they knew of black holes, well, they don't know a lot, but it's just like stuff gets sucked into it because it's just this mad force of gravitational pull that just sucks everything in.
Yeah.
This year, it was 3 years after they discovered this. This year, they looked at the same black hole, and it was spitting the star back out. Like, so light and stuff was coming out of this black hole. Just like, so it was like regurgitating this star.
Just
but,
recycling it.
Like broken apart though. So it's like, what's on the other side of that black hole?
It was the star was broken?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought a star was just a ball of gas.
It is.
It chewed him.
But light and stuff was coming out of it. Like, so it was like it sucked the star in with the light, like the fire, all that, whatever a star is, and it was spitting it straight back out.
I am the reason so many people go missing in Yosemite National Park. Hello, my name is Urban. I am the Grouse Lake ghost of Yosemite. A long time ago, I lived with my tribe inside the modern-day park. And one day I decided to take a swim in a nearby lake called Grouse Lake. But I went too deep and started to go under the water. I screamed and screamed, but no one came to help, and I eventually gave up and let myself go under. But I never left to the spirit world. I keep trying to call for help, but no one ever comes to help me. The tribe began to warn people to stay away from the lake, which made me angry. So now I call out and wait for someone to come look for me. But when they get close enough, I grab their ankle and drag them deep under the water, never to be seen again. So if you ever find yourself in Yosemite National Park, make sure to remember.
You guys see those planes that fly through hurricanes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, no. It was a 10-hour flight, and they like pass through the eye like 6 times, so they just like fly in, fly out. And dude, they're like just chilling like this with all their computers and stuff, and it's like
Oh my gosh.
I would never do that.
An airplane has not crashed from turbulence in so long in America.
Well, now it's gonna happen.
Well, no.
No, but yeah, turbulence does freak me out.
You know, it's not really bad until like there's like a few like ladies who just go, ah! You know, like it's like, okay, and then you're like, that's a good one.
You start getting afraid when the flight attendants are looking afraid.
Yeah.
Like, because typically the flight attendants are just like on their phone, just like.
Or they're literally chatting and laughing or something.
Yeah. But that's like when we were on the flight to England.
They strapped into their emergency
and
seat.
they're like,
oh no.
And they're like, sit down!
Sit down right now!
We're like,
you want to die?
We're dying.
But they did it with a British accent.
Yeah.
Do you have a death wish? Do you want to die? Buckle up!
Sometimes one fucked up movie's just not enough. I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit the like button, give me a follow, and welcome to Disturbing Double Feature. I chose 3 sets of movies that I feel complement each other very well to do a disturbing, fucked up double feature. And I really hope you enjoy. Tetsuo the Iron Man is about a man with a metal fetish that is accidentally killed by this businessman, and to exact revenge, he slowly turns the man into a monster of metal. This absolutely rips, and when you're done with it, you're gonna watch Titan by Julia Ducournau. Titan is such a very bizarre, brilliant film, and it's about this woman that was in a car accident, has a titanium metal plate in her head, about a man who lost his son and gets reunited. This movie is a bizarre clusterfuck of body horror brilliance. Next up, we're gonna do a disturbing revenge double feature and start off with one of the greatest revenge films ever made, I Saw the Devil. This is about a special agent chasing a serial killer, a cat and mouse game. This movie goes so fucking hard and is relentless, and it is an absolutely phenomenal film. And as soon as you're done, you're gonna put on Park Chan-wook's absolute fucking masterpiece, Old Boy. Old Boy is about a man who's in prison for 15 years, and he has 5 days to hunt down his captor whenever he is released. And it is so much more. One of the most brilliant masterpieces ever committed to film. Old Boy absolutely rips. And if you're looking for a fucked up zombie infected double feature for a Saturday night, a Friday night, shit, on a Monday, we're gonna start with The Train to Busan, which is arguably the greatest zombie film ever made. Not only about a zombie outbreak in South Korea, but this is very much about family, fatherhood, trust, social commentary on how we don't pay attention to the environment. The Train to Busan absolutely is non-stop rip from beginning to end. It's a masterpiece. And whenever you're finished, you're going to put on The Sadness, which is one of the most grotesquely fucking brutal movies you're ever going to see in your entire life, but it is a masterpiece. But listen, you better buckle up for this one, because this one goes from 0 to a fucking million really quick, and it does not let up. But the sadness is a grotesque fucking masterpiece. I hope you like my disturbing double feature, and if you want to see more, let me know in the comments. I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit that like button and give me a follow.
Video hit like 24 million and everybody's trying to like, it's like that Serbian dancing video.
Yeah.
So it's called I think it was called the Australian Zombie Lady. So these two girls go to Melbourne, I think, and they pass through a McDonald's and one of them locks the door, and then the other girl's like, yo, why the fuck you locking the door for? And then the girl's like, yo, look to your left. It's like a pale like grandma with black eyes trying to break into the door.
Oh, shit.
And I'll show you the video, hold on. Because the girls were like, they posted it on TikTok, got 20 million views, and now everybody is trying to go to Melbourne just to try and seek that little person. Hold on. And everybody thought that it was their friend doing makeup, but it's not. Hold on, look.
Hi. Oh my god, see how they go. No, oh my god, oh my god.
Oh, what the frick?
It literally looks like a zombie. Yeah, look back at it.
That's a real person?
Yes, that's a real person in the McDonald's drive-thru.
That looks like Halloween Haunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks
yeah.
Looks like Halloween Haunt where they're getting scared in the car and shit.
And now everybody's saying that around that neighborhood in Melbourne that she's trying to break into houses now.
Damn.
So like they're trying to
maybe arrest her, yo.
Yeah, I know. That's why they're trying to find her right
girl,
now.
bro.
It's trending news.
Crazy.
Man. And it's so crazy because they just locked the doors, but they didn't drive off. But as soon as they drove off, you knew it was real because she started.
You know the girl that was on the airplane, and then she's like,
"That girl isn't real."
That guy's not real. That girl, right?
Yeah.
There's a recent conspiracy. She's back on social media after she went missing.
Oh, and she looked different.
And she looked different. She looks like a whole new person.
Yeah, I seen that.
She started posting, and she's trying to do like the Hawk to a girl. She's trying to become a social media, I guess, personality from being the girl that saw something in the plane. Now, she started posting, and one of the pictures or videos she posted, it started going viral on Reddit because they looked back on her last sightings and she was missing. They had no idea where she went, no idea if this is even her, because she looks different, first of all.
For sure, yeah.
Like, if you look at the pictures of her face before and after, so they took those images and they put it through a processor to see if it matches the face. They got a score that legit means that's not the person. So you know when you go to the airport and you get your face scanned and it matches your person? It doesn't match it at all. So one of the things, it could be plastic surgery or whatever, but this is where it gets sus. The Reddit hackers, they looked into the picture and they were able to get the IP address of where the photo and the videos were taken. They looked into the address.
Where was it?
And it's...
If you hear me whistling at your door at night, listen carefully. Hello, my name is Silbon. I wander the Americas whistling and knocking on doors at night. When the door is opened, I begin to lay my bones on the ground and count them one by one.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I collected the bones from all my victims, going all the way back to my father. When I was young, I lived in Venezuela. And one day I asked my father.
Can you go hunting and get me a deer? I'm hungry.
He left, and when he returned, he had no deer. I was frustrated and unalived him. But my family found out, and my grandpa tied me to a tree and hit me with his whip. He then cursed me to walk forever and carry a brown sack of my father's remains. So now I walk around whistling and knocking on people's doors to count my bones for them. 5, 6, 7, 8. But if you are not listening, I will unalive you and your family and collect your bones. So remember,
this tribe in West Africa called the Dogon tribe, discovered by the Western world until like 1936, I believe, by this one anthropologist. What he found weird was this tribe in Africa, they have this story of these star people coming down to them and teaching them this knowledge. Had these drawings of the star Sirius. So Sirius A is the main star, right? Mm-hmm. They also had drawn Sirius B, which is a smaller star that you cannot see with the human eye. In fact, we didn't discover it until later 1900s when we created the radio telescope. We didn't know that existed until we created this telescope. But they knew about it. That started the exact location.
How? I know, that's what I'm saying. They've got to have an answer for it.
Or light pollution wasn't as bad as it.
No, you literally can't see it with your... It's so small.
Some people would say that's an argument for young Earth. Like, the reason they can see things closer is if there is things expanding more rapidly than they think they are.
Sirius C, it's an even smaller one, and I don't think they've discovered it yet, but the tribe is like, oh, it's up there. These gods came from, was this constellation.
This one is just bizarre as fuck. Let's do it. May is about this veterinary assistant named May. The movie opens with a quick scene that we're not going to figure out more about until the end, but it's of May holding her face while she bleeds. And then we get a flash to May's childhood and we see that she's kind of like an outcast. So since she doesn't really have any friends, her mom for her birthday gets her this doll that is enclosed in this glass case named Susie. And her mom tells her, you know, if you can't find a friend, make one. And she also tells her you can't play with her, you have to keep her in this glass because she's special. So again, as an adult, May is a veterinary assistant and she assists a lot with surgeries. She has this coworker, Polly, played by Anna Faris, who's kind of crazy. And she becomes fixated on this man named Adam, who's a local. She starts to follow him around and gets to know his schedule. And one day she shows up at this restaurant that he's at. He falls asleep on the table, and when he wakes up, her head is in his hands like this. She becomes super obsessed with his hands. May and Adam have another run-in at a laundromat. And eventually they actually start to date and hang out more. May is super fucking weird, by the way, if you haven't picked up on that yet. But Adam tells her that he likes weird, and she tells him that she's never had a boyfriend before. One night they're at Adam's house, and he shows May this film that he made as a student. The movie ends up being about cannibalism, and it's these two couples that literally eat each other while they're on a picnic. And May really gets into it. So her and Adam start to kiss, it's getting steamy, and she ends up biting his lip to the point where she draws blood. He tries to get up and go get a towel, but she literally just takes it and smears it all over herself. Adam is super fucking disturbed by this and runs for the hills and leaves. Meanwhile, May still has Susie and she's been talking to her this whole time. And she yells at Susie after Adam leaves almost as if it's her fault. And she hides her away in a cupboard. Throughout this, Polly at work has also taken a liking to May and is kind of hitting on her. May takes in Polly's pet cat, Loopy. And one day Polly makes a move on May and May accepts it and they kiss. Meanwhile, May decided that she wanted to start volunteering with these blind children that her and Adam had seen in the park before. And she meets this one girl named Petey who makes May an ashtray. Despite the fact that May is kind of into Polly, she's still hung up on Adam and he is not answering any of her phone calls. So she decides to show up at his house. And when she does, she overhears him talking to friends about how he was glad that he can get rid of her and that she was fucking crazy. So May's devastated and she goes over to Polly's house, but when she gets there, she finds that Polly has another girl there named Ambrosia. So my girl May has a little bit of a mentee bee. She spirals. So she gets home, she's crying, and she calls out for Loopy the cat to come to her. And when he doesn't, she, in a fit of rage, throws the ashtray at him. And I'm so sorry to tell you this, but the cat dies. But throughout all this, May continues to talk to Susie. One day, May decides to take Susie to the school where she volunteers with the blind kids. And this turns into this really weird, nightmarish scene because Petey wants to take Susie out of the glass, which May does not do since her mother told her not to when she was a kid. But Petey ends up pulling it out of May's hands and the whole thing falls and shatters. The kids, being blind, not knowing that there's glass all over the floor, get on their hands and knees and crawl towards the doll and they're all fighting over her. May sees this and crawls towards her as well and she tries to grab Susie. There's blood everywhere, they're pulling the doll apart, it's utter fucking chaos. Eventually May goes home devastated with Susie now in pieces. The next day, May is sitting at this bus stop where she meets this punk. He ends up liking her because she's weird and he's fucking weird. So they decide to go back to May's house to hang out and he takes his shirt off and reveals that he has a Frankenstein tattoo on his arm, which May admires. At one point, he goes in May's freezer where he discovers the body of Loopy, the cat. Obviously, he starts to freak out and May is like, I thought you were my friend. And he's like, of course I'm not your friend, you're a freak. And May, in a fit of rage, stabs him in the head and he dies. May looks at what she's done and she's decided that she needs more parts. So now it's Halloween night and May has made herself a costume, which looks exactly like what Susie wears. And she goes to Polly's house where she proceeds to cut her throat with a scalpel and kill her. Polly's girlfriend Ambrosia shows up and May proceeds to stab her in the temples with the scalpel and kill her. And then she goes to Adam's house where she finds him there with a girl. And she proceeds to kill them both, also with the scalpels, which by the way she took from her veterinary office. And then she takes them all home and she makes her new friend. Because if you can't find a friend, make one. So she makes this friend using the punk's arms with Adam's hands, which she had a fixation on, Polly's neck, which she had commented on before too, Ambrosia's legs, which she also told Ambrosia were beautiful before she killed her, Adam's girlfriend's ears, and Loopy's fur for the hair. I told you this was bizarre as fuck. So the ashtray that she had thrown earlier had May carved into it, so she takes the broken pieces and rearranges it and names her friend Amy. But then May has a bit of a breakdown when she realizes that Amy does not have eyes and can't see her. So she proceeds to give Amy one of her own eyes, which is the scene that we saw in the opening. And that's why she was bleeding from the face. She takes her own eye and puts it on Amy and begs it to look at her. The movie ends with May lying next to her creation on her bed as it reaches up and strokes her face with Adam's hands.
Can we get footage of paranormal activity in your house? Of course, as a haunted doll collector, I experienced a lot of paranormal activity, and I have even been fortunate enough to capture quite a lot on camera too. Here are some of my favourite clips. In this clip, this doll head opens its eyes, and you will see at the end of the clip, the doll head actually jolts forward. And that startled me at the time. This is a clip of a doll I got quite recently, and in this clip I captured her sitting up on her own. In this clip, my haunted doll Gloria moves her head a little bit. The next clip is really good because you can see two dolls being active at once. The doll on the right is blinking, and then the doll on the left moves her head upright and looks straight at me. They do this quite a lot. When I see them, they typically open their eyes, or they will sit up or move their head to look at me when I walk into a room. I like to think it's their way of greeting me and acknowledging my presence. In this clip you can see the small doll Gilbert. He is dancing to his favourite song on the kalimba. Again, in this clip, this doll Lillian moves her head up as I am talking to her. I love this next clip. This clip is Gilbert dancing because he gets so excited when he hears music or has his hat. He is just so sweet. And this last clip is Maribel moving her head. I'm sure I have way more on my page. I didn't experience any paranormal activity where I live until I started collecting these haunted dolls. And the dolls moving doesn't even scratch the surface. Many strange and unexplainable things happen in my house, so let me know if you'd like to hear more about those.
September 21st, 2013, a couple walk into the police station in Santiago, Spain. Most people in town, they know this couple well. It's the wife, Rosario Porto. So Rosario Porto is an attorney. Now, the husband, Alfonso, he's a freelance journalist. They have an adopted daughter, Asunta, and she was like one of the very first Chinese adoptees in the whole region. Everybody knew her as the daughter of a prestigious lawyer family, the genius daughter of a wealthy couple. The wealthy couple are now standing in the police station. Please help. Our daughter, Asunta, is missing. Later, one of the parents would turn to an officer and say, I think she's dead, but I just hope my daughter wasn't essayed too. What an odd thing to say when your 12-year-old daughter has gone missing for just 3 hours. What do you mean you think she's dead? And what do you mean you hope she wasn't essayed too? Asunta was adopted 3 months before her first birthday, and she would be killed 1 week before her 13th birthday.
The best horror movies to watch on Tubi for spooky season that give you the Halloween vibes. Let's do it. But before we get into it, Tubi, look what they just sent me, guys. If you don't have Tubi downloaded, what are you waiting for? They're only the best movie app to watch horror movies on. First up, I have Dark Night of the Scarecrow, 1981. This will put you in the fall and Halloween season vibe right off the bat. This is an oldie but goodie. The story entails 4 vigilantes who wrongfully execute a mentally challenged man. And after the courts release these guys, random killing sprees start to happen in this small southern town. I love this film. I love the classic Halloween vibe that it provides me, so you guys will really enjoy this one. Next up is a horror movie favorite of a lot of you in this horror community. It is called Haunt, and Eli Roth produced this film. Love, love, love this film. This was scarier than what I thought it was going to be. I went into it kind of blind. The story follows a group of young friends who want to go to a haunted house. Well, they find one, and it promises to feed on their darkest fears for the night. Well, these group of friends are about to get a lot more than what they bargained for going into this haunted house. I really enjoyed the masks in this one. I thought they were creepy as fuck, honestly. And the overall premise and atmosphere was 10 out of 10. Definitely a movie that will chill you and it will have you rooting for your main actors. So definitely give this one a watch. Easily a 10 out of 10 film. It takes a lot for me to give a film a 10 out of 10. This one is called Naughty Knocks and it stars our guy, Robert Englund, our Freddy Krueger. This is about a small town babysitter who's watching kids, and her and the kids end up getting stalked Halloween Eve by a serial killer. This one is most certainly not a masterpiece, but it will put you in that Halloween vibe, that trick-or-treating vibe, which I love. So do me a favor and leave your favorite Halloween trick-or-treat vibe movies in the comments, and if they're streaming on Tubi, even better. Follow for all things horror and spooky if you're new here. Happy early Halloween.
Here are 5 horror movies for you to watch on your next movie night with a group of your friends. Now before we get into that, if you love all this horror, all this spooky just as much as I do, be sure to hit that follow button. Influencer follows a social media influencer named Madison who is backpacking in Thailand, and she meets a person named CW who has a different way of living than most people. Now CW ends up showing Madison around, but CW has an interest in her that takes a dark turn for the worse. So Madison is basically in the fight for survival. This movie is a thrill ride. It's gonna have you on the edge of your seat. The situation itself is pretty unsettling. Check it out on Prime Video. Urban Legend is a 90s classic, and it takes place on a college campus where there's a serial killer out on the loose. The killer is out here murdering college students corresponding to different urban legend stories. The movie is fun and entertaining, and it has a nice crime mystery element to it. Check it out on Hulu. Next we have the Hellraiser remake, and it follows supernatural forces that are activated through a mysterious puzzle box. It's up to a young woman to put these demonic forces back to rest, and also to uncover the truth behind her brother's disappearance. I really enjoyed this remake. I think visually it's really good. I think it has a good story. It's one of the best entries in the Hellraiser franchise. Check it out on Hulu if you haven't already. Ready or Not follows a woman who just got married, and on the same day of her wedding, she plays a game with her new in-laws. And this game just so happens to be a deadly game of hide and seek. So they spend the entire night trying to kill her and also avoid a deadly curse on the family. This is my top horror movie of 2019. I think Grace is one of the best final girls of her decade. The movie's fun, it's engaging, and it's bloody and gory. It's also available on Hulu. The Toolbox Murders follows a young couple who move into a LA apartment building where young female residents have met violent deaths. Soon enough, the couple make a terrifying discovery about the building's manager and some of the tenants. Let's just say that a situation like this will be pretty damn scary to be in. It'll have you wanting to live with your parents forever. Check it out on Prime Video.
God is about to turn your situation around. Heavenly Father, I come before you with a heart full of hope and anticipation. Your word in Romans 8 verse 28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." I trust in this promise and believe that you are working behind the scenes to turn my situation around. Lord, I am facing challenges and uncertainties that seem overwhelming, but I know that nothing is impossible for you. I surrender my worries and burdens to you, asking for your divine intervention. Please bring about the change and breakthrough I so desperately need. Let your will be done in my life, and let your glory be revealed through this transformation. Father, strengthen my faith as I wait for your perfect timing. Help me to remain patient and steadfast, knowing that you are in control. Fill me with your peace and assurance that you are already at work, turning things around for my good. Lord, I also pray for those who are in similar situations, needing your touch and your miraculous intervention. Reach out to them with your love and power, and let them experience your faithfulness and goodness. Thank you, Lord, for the miracles you are performing, and for the turnaround that is coming. I give you all the glory, honor, and praise. If you believe that God is about to turn your situation around, Type Amen in the comments. Share this prayer with someone who needs encouragement today. Save this video to remind you of God's power, and follow my page for more prayers that uplift and inspire your faith. Amen.
This is one of the greatest horror movies ever made, and I will die on that hill. Let's do it. House LLC is a documentary-style found footage movie about this crew that is investigating an unexplained accident that happened at a haunted house attraction a few years back. This haunted house attraction was put on by this crew called House LLC in an abandoned hotel. The beginning of the movie explains how on opening night, all but one crew member died in an unknown accident. However, Diane, who is the leader of the documentary crew, manages to track down the one surviving member of House, which is Sarah. Sarah's not really able to explain where she's been or why she hasn't come forward, but she does provide Diane with footage that the crew took in the house the days leading up to the incident. So the footage shows the crew, who is led by Sarah's boyfriend Alex, as they move into the hotel to set up for the attraction. So it shows how they're setting up all their props, including these super creepy fucking clowns. And they make it a point to tell us that this one's here, its head does not turn, it just looks straight. It also shows their process of hiring the actors for the haunt. All of the actors also died except for one. The movie explains that the documentary crew tried to reach out to that one surviving actor, and he refused and then killed himself. So as you can expect, weird shit starts happening to the crew almost immediately. The creepiest part is one of the crew members, I think it's Paul, is just like doing a walkthrough of the house as he's filming. And the creepy clown that is supposed to be in the basement is now at the top of the stairs. So Paul places his camera on it. The clown is looking forward because, again, it can't turn its head. Moves the camera away for a second, and when he moves back, the clown looks like this. They later end up seeing the clown down the stairs in the middle of the night. They hear the piano playing by itself. They find that Sarah is sleepwalking. So everybody's really freaked out at this point, but Alex basically kind of forces them to go on. At this point, it's been explained to us that they found pentagrams in the basement, and they think that the reason that the hotel is haunted and abandoned is because it had something to do with the satanic cult. And one of the actors actually earlier explained that the owner of the hotel killed himself inside the hotel. Ultimately, the footage reveals that all of the crew members were killed by paranormal forces. So Paul, for example, one night is taking a video of himself, and this creepy-ass woman pops up in the background. And when he finally notices her, it's too late. Another one of the crew members was found in the attic, hanging, surrounded by these black hooded figures. So we see all of this, but Diane and the production crew don't know about it yet because they're still with Sarah with the footage. And Sarah's like, you know what, this is a lot for me. I'm going to take a break. Come find me later in my hotel room. It's 2C. So Sarah leaves, and Mitchell, who is one of the documentary crew guys, takes the footage and starts watching it, which we already have watched. Before Sarah leaves, she's like, you guys should break into the hotel and see what it's about. So Diane and her cameraman go to the front desk of the hotel they're staying at. They ask for 2C, and the lady's like, that room doesn't exist. So Diane's like, okay, weird, and her cameraman decide to take Sarah's advice and go and break into the hotel. Meanwhile, we see Mitchell, who is left watching the footage, try to call Diane in a panic. But Diane just says, we'll call him back later. They come across one of the bedrooms in the hotel, and it is labeled 2C. And when they go in, they see Sarah sitting on the bed. Diane goes to tap her on the shoulder, and Sarah turns, and her face is all distorted. The door slams, and they are now surrounded by all these cloaked, hooded figures. We end up seeing the footage that Mitchell was so panicked about, and it's footage of a possessed Alex killing Sarah the night of the haunt. So she died that night and was dead this whole time. And there were no survivors of the Hell House.